And then there is the woman who tried to be Hillary Clinton. As noted at the top, there's only 68 days till the inauguration of President-elect Obama, but never mind that. Just 1,454 days until Election Day 2012. If you worried that with the election over, this program might have to revert to mindless rubbernecking over vapid celebrities making fools of themselves in public, you were right. Sarah Palin addressed the Republican convention today, the Republican Governors Convention. Governor, Britney Spears wants her act back. At a pre-plenary session news conference with 12 of her fellow governors, Governor Palin at first seemed eager to impart her latest message to the media.
We don't let obsessive extreme partisanship get in the way of just doing what's right.
But by the fourth and final question, a clearly uncomfortable Palin had to be literally steered back to the podium by the governor of Texas, Rick Perry. And the news conference ended there. Check, please. 30 minutes later, Palin was back in front of the cameras telling the assembled Republican Governors Association that she is grateful for the same man she has previously blamed for losing this election.
I'm thankful he is my soldier son's commander-in-chief, and for that I say, God bless George W. Bush, and I thank you, Mr. President.
20 minutes later, same thankfulness? No, not so much.
Washington, D.C. leaders spent public money in disregard of the public interest, just like the opponents that they used to criticize. They got too comfortable in power. Maybe they forgot why they were sent to Washington and who they were sent to serve.
Obviously, she meant Millard Fillmore. Governor Palin pulling a similar about-face on the next president of the United States. At first, she wished Barack Obama well and called his victory a shining moment in American history.
It's time for us to reach out to this new administration. Time for us to reach out to Barack Obama.
Then later, Governor Palin proceeded to reach out and poke the president-elect in the nose.
We are held accountable every day. The buck stops on our desk. We're not just one of many voting yay or nay or present. No, there is no present button in our office, is there?
Nice way to, what was it you called it, Governor? Not let obsessive extreme partisanship get in the way of just doing what's right. And of course, no flashback to her disastrous run for the vice presidency would be complete without a mention of one very special guy.
Remember folks like Joe the plumber? Who, yes.
There it is, the answer to the question, what is the sound of one plumber's hand clapping? Guess you should drop that whole Joe the plumber thing, right, Governor?
Joe the plumber, remember, and thanks to Joe the plumber, I'll not forget guys like Tito the builder.
Finally, Governor Palin, having relegated 2012 discussions to the pundits, gave a little insight into her future.
In respect to our presidential campaign, now it is time for us to go our own way and leaving neither bitter nor vanquished, but instead confident in the knowledge that there will be another day and we will gather once more with new strength. We'll rise to fight again.
We turn once again to Margaret Carlson, political columnist for Bloomberg News and Washington editor of The Week magazine, who was there for that epic moment at the Hotel Intercontinental Miami to hear the governor this morning. Thanks for joining us again tonight, Margaret.
Nice to be here, Keith. Thanks.
Obviously, the Joe the plumber moment was a resounding dud. How did the crowd react to the rest of her speech?
You know, one person tried to get applause going for Jay the P. Couldn't do it. People just didn't bite. Remember, I vowed never to say his name again on your show, Keith, so he will not be spoken tonight. The awkward moment was when Governor Perry came in, either to be gallant or either to give Sarah Palin the hook at the very, very short press conference. You blink, you miss it. She was just gone. And the questions weren't particularly hostile. So she's hustled off, she gives her speech, and she puts in some of the red meat. I thought do you remember the movie All of Me with Steve Martin where Lily Tomlin possesses half his body? Well, the campaign Sarah Palin possesses half of Governor Palin's body. So that's why the speech was two different speeches where she was bringing up some of her famous lines.
I'm sorry, I'm just having a whole series of flashbacks from that Steve Martin, Lily Tomlin, Victoria Tennant movie.
Yeah, it's a great one.
And applicable. Listen, yesterday, Governor Palin called for the GOP to become more diverse. Governor Jindal said the party needs to offer more than just the other side is worse rhetoric. Did Palin offer any clear path for that party today beyond what she'd already said on the campaign trail?
You know, not much. What the governors did in the green room was to get her not to say the four-letter number, which is 2012, and just say 2010, which you're allowed to say, and to stay away from that and concentrate on, okay, where do we go from here? But the second half of her speech, she reverted to everything but, you know, palling around with terrorists and socialism. So there wasn't much in the speech. You know, Tim Pawlenty, who's just a walking metaphor, he had a new one today. Yesterday he did comb over Republicans need more than that. Today it's postmodern art where everybody sees their own picture. And Sarah Palin sees one picture, and then Governors Barber, Crist, Pawlenty see another picture. I mean, actually, it's a little like high school here, where there are these cliques. So that's the moderate contemporary group against the Sarah Palin, let's be even more conservative group.
Yeah, Governors Bobby and Ricky and Timmy and all the rest from high school. One last question, and it's kind of off topic, but just off the top of your head with this news that Andrea Mitchell has tonight, that the two sources in the Obama campaign are talking about Senator Clinton being a viable candidate for Secretary of State. What happens to Sarah Palin if there is a Secretary of State Hillary Clinton? It's not the presidency, it's not the vice presidency, it's probably number 3 in the depth chart.
Yeah. Well, she did mention the glass ceiling today that she almost poked through. Remember, we have Condoleezza Rice, so that ceiling has been cracked. You know, every once in a while you get surprised by news. I was actually surprised by this. I didn't picture Hillary Clinton be Secretary of State because, by the way, Bill Clinton thinks he's Secretary of State with his Global AIDS Initiative. So that will be interesting if that happens.
Yeah, we could have up to 4 secretaries of state in the event of that occurrence. Margaret Carlson of Bloomberg News and The Week magazine at the Republican Governors Convention, a conference rather, and also Old Steve Martin Movie Festival in Miami. Thank you, Margaret.
Hey, thanks, Keith. Good night.